Jackson family feud getting physical. Authorities were called to the Jackson home.
In July 2012, fans of the Jacksons were shocked when footage of Janet and Paris leaked.
It is what it is, and I've just let it go.
Photo stills from security footage appeared to show Janet slapping her niece. She then allegedly called her a spoiled little bee. The altercation got so out of hand that the police were called as Janet stormed the house along with brothers Randy and Jermaine. The family got into what looked like a full-out war. But what really happened that crazy day? There have been multiple rumors and theories about what caused the rift between Paris and Janet. One theory suggests that it had to do with disputes over the family's inheritance after Michael's passing. A source told TMZ that Paris was heard telling her aunt that the house belonged to Michael's kids and not the Jackson family. Does this mean that Janet and her brothers were there to forcibly take the house from the kids? What makes this theory even more shocking is that Paris was just 14 years old when she was confronted by her adult relatives, which is pretty appalling. It was reported that after the slap incident, the argument then moved inside. Jermaine and Randy allegedly got into a physical fight with Joe Jackson's nephew Trent, who sided with his cousin. Trent was accused of headlocking Randy and actually punching Jermaine in the mouth. Although no arrests were made when the police arrived, there was an investigation into active battery. The lawyer for Michael's 3 kids even claimed in the aftermath that they weren't safe around the Jackson family. This provoked conversation about another reason why things were so bad for the Jackson kids at that point. There was a lot of talk at the time about the whereabouts of their grandmother, Katherine Jackson. The children's court appointed attorney actually began steps to take over their guardianship after Katherine had been out of town for more than a week. The executors of Michael's will also shared their side of the story, and it made for some shocking reading. They made it clear that they were worried for the welfare of the kids and Katherine, and they would do what they could to protect them from undue influences, bullying, and greed. It looked like the family was being torn apart in fights over money. In this case, of course, the money in question was an incredible vast fortune. Michael's will was estimated to be worth around $500 million, and as is so often the case, the huge amount had started to change how the family felt about each other. Michael left his estate to his mother Katherine and his 3 kids Paris, Prince, and Biggie. However, he left nothing to his father Joe or any of his 8 siblings, who might have expected to see some of the fortune. They have since tried repeatedly to intervene in the children's inheritance. Several of them have disputed the validity of the will, and the legal battles have been brutal. Katherine's lawyer claimed that a plan had been in place for 3 years before 2012 to remove Katherine from her home. So when Katherine disappeared for over a week, family tensions went into overdrive. However, she was found with her daughter Debbie and other relatives in Arizona. Although this was a great relief to the kids, it meant that they were left unprotected for a long time. And when Michael's siblings found out, they immediately took advantage. While Katherine was away, Janet and her brothers pretty much invaded the house where the kids were living. It would have been scary enough even if Janet had not hit Paris in the face, but from the siblings' point of view, things looked pretty different, and they felt like they were not the ones in the wrong. Janet, Randy, and Jermaine all believed that the will Michael left was a fake, and they demanded that the executors of the estate step down. They had also been pressuring Katherine to seek permission from a judge to investigate the will's validity. A week before they tried to ambush the kids, the siblings wrote a letter in which they made some worrying claims. They said that Katherine was being manipulated by the executors, John Branca and John McClain. They said that what they were doing to Katherine had started to affect her health, and she eventually suffered a mini stroke. This was why she was recovering in an Arizona spa with her relatives. And to be fair, if the siblings truly believed that Katherine was being manipulated, there was plenty for them to be worried about, as the news that the lawyers were seeking to take over guardianship of the kids would only make them more convinced that the executives were moving against them. Could it be that they had only turned up at the kids' door to try and reason with them? But if that was the case, how could it all have turned so violent and crazy so quickly? Many believe that there was nothing more to what the siblings were doing than financial motivation. And the insane thing is that there was history to back that up. Both Randy and Jermaine had previously asked that Michael's will be used to pay their child support. Although the request was denied, it made many Michael fans suspicious about the siblings' intentions regarding his kids. Another detail which threw doubt over the sibling claims was that 2 other siblings had chosen not to take part in their battle. Tito Jackson had signed the letter along with his siblings, questioning the authenticity of the will. However, after the news of the footage of Janet and Paris emerged, Tito backed out of the plot. He later said that he had no intention of challenging the will. If he had ever truly believed the will was fake, why would he back out? Could it be that he just no longer wanted to be a part of the plan after the insane actions his siblings took against their niece and nephews? Another missing piece of the puzzle was Marlon Jackson, who had never been a part of the plot to start with. However, he had made some other startling claims which made things look even worse for his brothers and sisters. He claimed that he had been cut out from Katherine in a bombshell interview with The Insider. He said that they had all been told that she was safe, but they had not talked with her. Although we later learned that she was safely in Arizona with her Rebbe, Marlon had no idea. At one point, it all became too much for Marlon, and he emotionally stood up and walked out of the interview. The interviewer later said that a family member had told them that everything was actually fine. Apparently, everyone who wanted to talk to Katherine could do so, and there was no issue between her or any of her children. However, it was definitely the case that it was reports of her ill health that set things off so badly. It seemed like a lot of the family was just waiting in the wings for the moment she became weak. In Michael's will, Katherine was the heir to his whole fortune, which would pass to his kids when she passed away. So when it looked like Katherine's passing was becoming a possibility, tensions rose to the surface as everyone started to react. As for the kids themselves, there were rumors at the time that they were running wild without Katherine there to look after them. It could be that it was Michael's siblings themselves who first put those rumors out on the public stage. But once again, it seemed like this was not the case. The Insider interviewer reported that it was a total myth, as there was always a lot of family around to keep an eye on them. However, this raises another question. With so many family members reportedly around to protect the kids, how did that shocking moment when Janet attacked Paris ever happen? With so much money destined to come their way, it seems sadly that there was almost no one Michael's young kids could trust. But what do you guys think? Was Buddy the only reason things blew up between Janet and Paris? Let me know in the comments below.